And we're back with another point and click adventure. Kind of gonna continue where we left off because we're making some progress. That's right. And we're doing one more remake that has been done. The last of the AGD remakes. We will be doing King's Quest III: To Err Is Human. One of the more polarizing entries in the King's Quest series. It connects the story very nicely. And it is definitely one of the harder King's Quest games. I would not recommend picking up King's Quest 3 first. But I will say this, that we're on an adventure. We're going to be on quite a bit of a neat little adventure that is very different from pretty much all the other King's Quest games. So I'm excited for us to be doing King's Quest 3: To Err Is Human. I'm your host, the RPG Guy. And let us start, as we do with every one of these, we'll start with the opening. This is the last, as I said, of the AGD remakes, unfortunately. So, and this is argued to be one of the also good ones as well. Thrice now I curse, and from the first your family shall feel the worse. Soon shall you see they'll surely be in the most dire jeopardy. Then as is your foe, 'tis I who will sow the spell to cause your heart to slow. And for my shame, are you the same? O Dantry, your heir shan't reign. Soon shall you see, they'll surely be. Oh boy. Definitely a darker installment if when you compare King's Quest games, because most of them are very lighthearted adventures, very kind of like bright and somewhat colorful adventures. This one's definitely the darker entry. Now, I will say, if you know how to play the game, this is also one of the shortest entries in the game. If you want to get good at speedrunning, this might be a game to practice at. All of the things that make King's Quest 3 good are present. The things that some people find polarizing will happen and do happen in this game, and I will explain that when we get to the gameplay itself. But they went all out. The studio that did this remake has definitely gone all out on this particular installment. So yeah, it's a shame that the studio never got to do a remake of 4. So we'll be playing a more traditional version when we get to King's Quest 4. But yeah, so we see this baby is clearly being baby napped. The music, if I haven't expressed this enough, I enjoy the music that is in this entire series. It's so well written and so musically well made with the MIDI that they've used. And I will say this Christopher T. Warren dude, yeah, he's in these so much as far as just working on everything. So I'm wondering if he was the backbone to a lot of these. So yeah. Guy, man in a black robe, stealing a baby. Are we playing Lighthouse, the Dark Being? That way, he wasn't in a dark robe, that's right, he was buck-ass nude. For those of you who have not seen my Let's Play of that was a long time ago. That was like 13 years, 12 years ago. I might be overshooting. It might have been more like 10 or 11, but it was a long time ago. As we head up the hill, I stole a baby for nice eatings indeed. That delicious baby meat. Share the veal! I know this opening has spread some controversy amongst King's Quest fans. But if you've been playing the AGD remakes of King's Quest 1 and 2, you kind of know some of the story already. You don't know it to this degree. We're actually seeing this in real time. But you do know the story. You do know of what's happening here. And I probably won't explain it until the game itself fully explains it, and then I'll point out the references from specifically King's Quest 2, which is originally was called Romancing the Throne. I believe they changed it to Romancing the Stones, but what have you. Let them change the name, I don't care. I think because I swear I think it was Romancing the Throne, but you get so wound up to play you don't really care about the light bits of history and oversights like that. God, the music's so good. Oh god, it's Teen Wolf. The one thing I never got over was the way our main character here, Gwydion looks.
Gwydion.
Wakey, wakey, time for some eggs and bakey. He wakes up, his clothes are all in tatters. Clearly, he's living in a hovel of some sort. He's looking through this telescope here for the hot babes. So we're gonna see the whole world that we're gonna get to experience in a very bizarre way. I assure you. What the hell? Clearly somebody waving to us in that cave. Very interesting. Ask me what it means. Ask me what it means.
Gwydion, what are you doing, boy?
Dude needs to lay off the cigarettes there. Just a little bit.
I was just looking.
How dare you take leave of your duties? Resume your chores immediately.
Yes, Mananin. Master.
Your parents survived your wretched infancy. The sight of your sloth alone would have killed them.
They would not have been proud of me.
No, but fate has favored you. Few orphaned youths can know such fortune. You are lucky to be here to serve me.
I am very lucky.
Indeed. Now get to work.
Damn. What a dick. So clearly this was the child who was kidnapped. He's now much more grown. I would assume that Manamana here.
Such is the story of young Gwydion's life to this point. What's a poor boy to do? Oh well, in resignation, Gwydion obediently follows Manannan into the house.
Again, we kind of know that he was kidnapped and brought here just from the opening. All right, so we're in control. So really quick, there is a timer up here. Now this timer serves multiple purposes. It tells you how long it takes to play the game. However, when you're in this upper menu, you'll notice that it doesn't move.
The old wizard looks at you.
And these are things that'll happen.
The kitchen is filthy. Go clean it at once.
Yes, soy. Yes, soy. So, Menomenon's gonna... I'm just calling him Menomenon, because screw his real name. Fuck this guy. Menomenon, he's just pretty much gonna order us around and whatnot. When the timer is brown, which it is right now, it means Menomenon is somewhere in the vicinity of the house. If we leave the house, we don't do what he asks us to do a certain amount of times, he will kill us. That's just what he does. Now, with that said, we don't know enough in the story to know what to do, but it is a thing where Menomenon will do various things like sleep and go on a journey. We don't know what he's doing. It doesn't really matter to us. During this downtime is when we get to be sneaky Pete and start doing some things to better our own situation, and we have to do it without him knowing. So that's a thing in and of itself. So currently we are in control, and he wants us to clean the kitchen. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Now, I would look around and do a lot of other things, but because of the nature of the timing of events, I won't probably do as much exploratory stuff early on in the game. Probably. And so, yeah, we can't even leave the house, like the vicinity outside of this house, without incurring Menominon's wrath. Menomina, Menomina, So, but there are some things we can grab while we're here.
Retrieve the clay bowl from the kitchen shelf and take it with you.
Yes, yes. And then we'll grab some, I call these tools.
You take the carving knife from the iron rack and keep it with you.
Thank you.
You take the wooden spoon from the iron rack and keep it with you.
Nice. And then we're going to grab some of these goodies here.
You take the mutton chop and carry it with you. You take the loaf of bread and carry it with you.
Because we're going to need all of these goodies.
You take the fruit and carry it with you.
We'll head down this way. We'll grab this.
The perfect servant, aren't you?
And then we will head down and over this way. Let's go ahead and head up here. And really quickly, we can take a look at our items here. I think we have everything that's worth a damn. What's Kitty doing? Meow. Damn, Kitty fucked that fly up. Oh, poor little guy. Uh-oh.
The wizard gives you an evil glare.
Yeah, that wizard is... Oops, we pick up the bug. He will just appear, and there is a thing. There are two different types of items that exist in this game. And I will explain that in a moment. We're not ready to talk about that just yet. But we will. So really, there's nothing really for us to do until Menominot shows up again. We don't want to go in this room when Menominon's here, and we don't want to go into the room that's right downstairs. That's not the dining room, again, because we have to be not getting ourselves into quote-unquote trouble. So we're just kind of killing time. There's technically one thing we can do, but we're not going to do it yet.
The wizard's glare makes you suddenly feel very, very small.
I have decided to take a journey.
Okay, and now you'll notice the timer has turned green. During this time, and you'll notice when we're in some menus it doesn't run. We're going to make a save. We're going to call it, just save one. No fancy wording, because we're going to need to make a handful of saves as we progress through the game, and we might need to reload further back than we thought. So Menominon is leaving, so the timer is green. The timer will change colors as he is getting ready to come back. It'll turn yellow with a little exclamation point when he starts coming back or waking up from his sleep, whichever task he is doing. Red means that he's at the house actively looking for us, and there are two types of items that I had mentioned earlier. There are regular items, and then there are magic items.
The wizard's hand mirror.
Magic items have that blue little aura around it. What that means, and what we have to be careful of, is if Menominot finds us with these blue items on us, he will immediately kill us.
Smell like a rose, but
the one perk is if we get home before he does, we can hide all the magic items in our room. And that's the kind of game that we're
You
in.
search behind the clothes hanging in the wizard's closet.
Some people
You're starting
don't
to
mind that,
discover
some
an
people
ancient
do.
Parchment scroll. Its ink has faded, but it seems to be a map. Taking this treasure, you leave everything else exactly as it was.
Nice.
You search the pockets of the black cloak. Suddenly you discover a small brass key. What could it unlock?
That's a good question. Again, all of these things magic. You notice I'm also making an effort to close the drawers of everything that I'm opening. Again, there's a reason for that. That reason should be, I would say, very obvious, because he'll know we were in digging through his shit. And that's how you get the Wrath of Menomenon here. So we've got ourselves a handful of cool items, the map being and the brass key being the most important ones. Technically, we need all of these items because they all serve purposes, varying purposes. So keep that in mind. While we're here, let's go and give this cat a big old hug. Again, now I know some of the things you normally would not know all of this.
Slips away from your Nimbly,
here,
you
kitty.
grab the nasty cat by the scruff of its neck, avoiding its needle-sharp claws. Now that you have it, what are you going to do with it?
Eat it.
You manage to pluck some fur before he viciously scratches and leaps from your arms. With grim satisfaction, you survey your wounds.
Yeah. All right, let's skedaddle. Now, like I said, if you're playing this for the first time, there are a handful of things you just don't know. Like I'm actually one of the big mechanics in this game is making spells, and we're gonna do it without Menomenon knowing. But in order to make these spells, it's not like other games where it's just words and whatever. We have to get the components to create the magic spells themselves.
You pick up the chicken.
Hence why we're
You
grabbing...
gently pluck a feather from the chicken and gently set it back on the ground.
Which is why we are going through and doing it the way we're doing it. There is a way, if you were playing this for the first time, this is a lot of trial and error. You know what I mean? There's a point in the game where you learn about what you got to do and what you need. And then as you've explored the overworld safely without pissing off his Menomenomness, you end up getting access to everything that you end up realizing, okay, these are the things I need. I've seen these things on the map. How do I get them for me? So the game's replayability, once you've beaten the game, it's all about getting the best time. Because once you know what to do, there is no real variation, too much variation of replayability, because you kind of know what to do. Especially if you get a perfect score, which I don't think I've done in this game. If I did, I don't remember doing it. This is one of the games I've played the most just out of sheer will, because you don't really have much of a choice but to play this game a lot in order to get good at it. So... And over the years, over the last 10 years or so, when this game, which is how long this game's been out, this King's Quest, I pull out this one, 5, 6, and 7 the most. And I do 7 just because it's got I have a soft spot for that particular game. For a reason, it was something that was given to me by a friend of mine, and she wanted me to play it with her so she could see how to beat it, because she was struggling and she knew I was good at these games, specifically King's Quest games. And since I was so good at these games, she wanted me to kind of beat it for her. And I wouldn't. I made her play it. But I showed her I showed her the mindset of what to do and the tactics involved. I'll talk about King's Quest 7 when we get there. We're not there yet. So you can see I'm trying to force a set of events to happen here. Because in order for things to work in our favor, there is a handful of things we got to accomplish.
Scram!
Damn! So we'll come back here. We'll come back down. We're hoping that we see the bears leave, and you know when you hear this music. King's Quest 3, I will say, was the least I played as a kid. Because it always seemed like I was rushing to type stuff in, and I wasn't
along there, Mildred.
I wasn't the best at typing
yes,
yet.
George.
Mama, my button's not done up.
My bear!
Haven't you taught
Oh,
him
God.
anything, Mildred?
I don't know if I
It's a
should
bit
even make the
difficult
joke.
for him, George.
His red rocket sticking out from his crotch, George. We can't go into public like this, George. So, anyway. Let's
You
grab...
take a handful of fertile soil from the garden.
Yoink.
You can't.
And in we go. Because we need 2 items from inside. One of them you have to absolutely have. Technically, you have to have all of it anyway, but...
Just right. So you take it with you.
You'll see what I mean, though. But yeah. We don't want to take the big one. We don't want to take the medium one. We're going to take the small one. Like how it's a bear came out of the woods today. Right, the 3 little
You
bears.
closely
The 3
examine the
bears. Goldilocks and the 3 bears.
You pick up the thimble. You can't. There is.
Okay, just out of habit, we'll close. Then we'll head out of here. And then we're gonna come outside. And we're gonna use that thimble.
Holding the silver thimble beneath a dew-filled flower, you gently tip the flower so its dew runs into the thimble. You move from flower to flower, repeating the process until your thimble is brimming with dew.
Nice. Do the do. Alright, let's move over here. We're gonna pick up a handful of ingredients on this side of the map. Now, we could be attacked here. There are a bunch of bandits that roam the area.
You scoop up a small handful of sand.
We don't want to have to deal with that. Grab these.
You pick and poke among the fallen acorns looking for dried ones. You eventually find 3 dried acorns and take them with you.
And we got ourselves some nuts that we're not going to put in our mouth. Let's go ahead. Now we're going to head back. Now we're going to head over towards the town. And again, we're going to pick up 2 other ingredients. Technically 3. We're going to pick up 3 ingredients. And then most importantly, we're going to start picking up something that's really required for the game. We'll grab Durfish.
The store.
And I'm doing this mostly for points because we don't technically need every single thing. Some stuff will be redundant.
Good day to you, young man. What can I do for you?
And it just helps us dealing with issues later.
You pat the hairy dog and are rewarded with a handful of malted hair.
Sweet. Oh, you know what? There's one other goodie we can get. Let's go down this way. You notice I'm really making an effort to get as much stuff. That way you guys don't have to just bore yourselves with the...
You search among the hanging mistletoe until you find a sprig that has dried. You break it off and carry it with you.
Because, like I said, there is actually a time limit within the game to where if you don't actually figure this out over the course of the game, you lose and you have to start over. So there is only a finite amount of time you have to, in a sense, beat this game. All right, let's come over here.
The window doesn't appear to be fully closed.
Which means we'll need a tool to get in there.
You slide the knife's thin blade through the gap and easily flip the latch.
We'll go in here. And then there's only one thing we need, which is right here. This is very important. And if we read this, all kinds of info. Day 1. Today I stepped off Mana's mountain for the first time, though he would kill me without hesitation if he knew. My only regret is that I waited so long. What I have learned this day alone. The townspeople are not the wretched creatures I have been led to believe. Only the outcast ruffians are to be avoided. They all fear my master and have spent their lives in the coldness of his shadow. This book, which I happen upon by stream, shall be a record of my discoveries. They may prove vital, for as I approach my 18th year, I feel an ever-growing dread. My wizard has ill plans for me. Day 3. It seems that my fears were warranted. Manan keeps a near constant eye on me nowadays. I feel like a field mouse under an owl's gaze, but for all my master's vigilance, I have managed to collect things: corks, forks, oddly shaped stones, anything I dare call my own. My quarters are their keep, and will remain so while I live under this roof. In the meantime, I look forward to my next excursion. I promised the barmaid I would pay another visit. Day 4. 2 hours. That's how long the wizard had me hanging from his kitchen rafters, and only because I missed the smallest spot on in my sweeping. That stupid cat. I waited till I'd finish before tramping ash from the fireplace. I have to get away, if only to save myself from further headaches and humiliation. My brief outings are risky, but no less regular. Each day rewards me with greater insight. Today was the most fascinating. I've seen my first ship. For too long I stood on the pier in awe of its massive masts and mainsail. The sailors directed me to the tavern where I made their captain's acquaintance. The old salt keenly related his tales of treasure and pirates, and when asked if I might join his crew, he proceeded to test my nautical knowledge. My answers must not have impressed him, for he said that I was too old to be a cabin boy. I left disappointed, yet hopeful that I may yet meet a seafarer willing to enlist a novice. A week remains before I come of age. I shall expect no better treatment from Mahamana then, nor do I dare hope that freedom will accompany my adulthood. If I am to enjoy a semblance of this life, then I know what I must do. I spent the last 2 days in town cleaning practically everything I could find, so as to earn enough to pay my way aboard that vessel. This is my only chance. Mahamana does not often take such long journeys, and it is my every intention to be gone by the time he returns. Day 11. I rose early this morning and packed my few belongings. I barely slept. It was a dangerous descent in the pre-dawn haze, but by the time I reached the base of the mountain, I was smiling more broadly than I'd thought possible. This lasted about 30 paces, after which I don't remember anything for some time. The lump on my head, along with my missing possessions, suggest I was attacked by that band of lawless mongrels. It was well past noon when I staggered onto the pier. The ruffians must have dealt me a fair blow, because it took me several minutes to realize that I no longer had any money, and several more to notice that the ship had sailed. Mahamanaham returned late in the evening demanding supper. It was fortunate that he pays little attention to my appearance. With a pearl-sized bulge on top and eyes redder than embers, I must have looked a sight. Day 12. What is it they say about clouds and linings? I don't know, but I found something today which lifted my spirits. While dusting Mahamana's study, I noticed that a few of the books were attached to the shelves and made a curious sound when moved. After fiddling with the levers for a time, I was surprised to see a trapdoor open in the floor. How'd I manage to miss that all these years? I'll never know. Unfortunately, the noise had woken Mahamanaham, and I had no choice but to leave this secret unexplored for now. And this is important. We're going to write this down, because there is a place that this young man is telling us about, and this is really, in a sense, the combination to something important. But I just want to make sure I write it down so I don't have to review the book again. This is going to be a thing too, for anybody wondering. So we'll write this down, and then written down. I waited, day 13, I waited for Mahamana to resume his usual spying on the townsfolk before returning to the study. Descending through the trapdoor, I found myself in my master's workroom, his den of dark design. Certain the spells could assist me once the necessary ingredients were found, I headed for the staircase. On the floor lay a scrap of paper. I picked it up and beheld my doom. Written over and over down one side was a list of names. My name, each dated 18 years apart. I have little time. Day 15. It's nearly dawn. I've no more need of sleep. Despite a day and night spent scouring Ludor, one vital ingredient has eluded me, the mandrake root. If it exists, then it is not my destiny to find it nor to escape. The key to my freedom I will hide in a remote part of Ludor. Today is this Gwydion's 18th birthday. I can only hope the next will have a better one, for that is all I feel as I go to see my master one final time.
The rest of the pages are blank.
So clearly the master is naming all of these kids that he kidnaps Gwydion. So we're clearly not Gwydion, we're clearly somebody else. And on the 18th birthday, something terribly bad happens to all these kids. And it sounds like Gwydion probably kills them. Other than that, we don't know what he does with them, but we'll just assume he kills them for now, because there's no other tells that we have currently. But again, none of it's good, so there's nothing to really say beyond that, because yeah, none of it's good. Clearly these are bad things. So our master, Mahamana, is a very bad man who does very, very bad things. So we'll be dealing with that in due course. We have a little bit more time. We're almost running out of time here before Mahamana will start being a little bit more nosy than normal as he's out doing his Mahamana dealies. Let's use the spoon.
You kneel and scoop some of the mud onto the wooden spoon.
Let's go ahead and head this way, grabbing one more goodie. That we have boop, boop, boop.
You scoop up a cupful of ocean water.
Yeah, we're going to get to a point where he's going to start heading back, so we pretty much are going to need to start heading back ourselves. If we use this,
pull out your magic map.
It will allow us to teleport roughly to any area we want. So let's start heading back.
You feel a strange pulling sensation.
Sweet. Alright, let's head back up towards the house. And you guys know as well as I do, I'm carrying a ton of magical items on me from the blue aura stuff, so we're going to have to store some of this away. And we can actually force the progression of time. Like I said, we're getting to a point where he's going to start heading back relatively soon. And we don't want to, it would be bad for us to, let's say, barely get everything put away. We want to make sure we have plenty of time to spare. And there's going to be some moments later in the game where we're just going to make it. But for this first little thing, we've gathered a ton of ingredients for us to do with a little finagling. And we even have now guaranteed access to another area of this house we don't know much about. But right now, let's go ahead and hide everything that's blue in color.
Hands and knees and hide the item under your...
Look at all this stuff that pretty much counts. You take the fly and the porridge back. All of that stuff has to stay in the bed. Oh, shoot. Got one other item. Yeah, I know, it's weird. The cup is not magic, but somehow the cup with seawater is magic. And I can explain why the game thinks of it that way. So we can go ahead and sleep to force the advancement of time. Look at that. Literally 1 minute later, he would have been back. And now you'll notice the timer is red. And this is a good place for us to stop right now. So I want to thank you guys for stopping by. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Studios for more live gaming action. When we come back, we got to deal with his majesty and what he needs. Because clearly he's looking for us, and when he's looking for us, we need to respond. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, guys. We'll see you guys next time.